Hey there everybody, I'm Snowdrama, and this is going to be the second tutorial in my Unity tutorial series. My first tutorial is on 2-dimensionals, and this is going to be on 3-dimensional. So today we're going to make a 3D first-person shooter where you're going to be able to, we're going to create a first-person player that's going to be able to fire arrows at standing enemies. We're not going to cover AIs today. We're not going to cover anything like networking or anything like that, but we're just going to get the basic framework of a first-person shooter completely implemented. You know, how to generate arrows, how to have arrows hit enemies, things like that. So we're going to take all of those concepts and we're going to create a very quick, very simple game that allows you to just go and shoot enemies. So if you want to get right into working on it, you can head right over to the next video. I'm going to cover a couple of things that I realized that that it should be mentioned at the beginning here. If you're already familiar a little bit with Unity, you should just jump over to the next video. A couple of things I wanted to mention before we get started. Is that people will notice that I use Visual Studio over MonoDevelop for my code editor. It doesn't really matter if you use MonoDevelop. The code is going to be the same regardless of if you use MonoDevelop or if you use Visual Studio. I don't, however, go into any usage of JavaScript or BoostScript or any of the other scripting languages that Unity supports. I'm strictly going to use C#. Another thing that's going to that I want to point out is that I'm using Unity 5.2.0 F3 or something like that. So I'm using 5.2, and if you're using an earlier version of Unity, some of the features that I use may be specific to Unity 5 or Unity 5.2 and don't exist in earlier versions. So if you have no reason not to upgrade to Unity 5.2, then I would definitely recommend upgrading for this tutorial all the way to the most recent version, because everything I do in the tutorial works with the most recent version, but may not work with like Unity 4 or previous versions. So definitely, if you want to follow along, I would definitely say upgrade to 5.2. If you have an earlier version, so some of my code may not work. I haven't tested it with earlier versions of Unity, only 5.2, because that's what I'm creating the tutorials in. Beyond that, I wanted to mention that there's going to be future tutorials, things like going into networking, going into split-screen multiplayer, controller support, Android support, things like that. We'll go into detail on how to use the controllers and things like that in future tutorials. This is going to use strictly mouse and keyboard. It's going to be for PCs. It's going to use mouse and keyboards. It's going to be very basic as possible. So if you're interested in this kind of tutorial, definitely subscribe. I'm going to be doing a bunch of other tutorials in the future on all of those other concepts. We're going to be creating a whole bunch of games, and I'm going to be talking about Unity a lot on my channel. So if you want to get more of my tutorial videos, I would definitely recommend subscribing. Also checking out I do live streams on Twitch, so you should definitely check out those over on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Snowdrama. And then also check out my Twitter. I talk about game dev a lot, and I ask a lot of game dev related stuff, and I also post all of my I post on Twitter right before I do live streams. I make sure to post when I'm streaming and schedules and things like that over on my Twitter, which is @SnowdramaGames. So definitely check that out as well. I'll probably reiterate it at the end of the series because I forgot that I iterated it now. But anyway, so I think that's it for now. So let's get right into the code and move on to actually doing stuff.